Welcome to inChoiring Minds, the podcast powered by Equity Sings. I'm your host, Dr. Ariane Harley Emerson, but please call me Ariane. This is your go-to space for real talk about what it takes to build, scale, and sustain music organizations that don't just survive, but thrive. Whether you're a conductor, executive director, educator, or creative changemaker, we're here for it all: the music, the mission, and the messy middle. Each episode, we unpack the challenges and opportunities, on stage and off, that shape our field. We all know that lasting impact requires real change. And let's be honest, if nothing changes, then nothing changes. So, if you're ready to lead with purpose, reimagine what's possible, and build something truly built to last, you're in the right place. Let's get started. This is the podcast where music and mission meet, where we talk honestly about what it takes to build, to scale, and sustain music organizations that thrive both artistically and institutionally. If you're a choir, an orchestra, an opera company, or another music organization that's feeling the pressure, I'm talking about the pressure of declining audiences, the pressure of donor fatigue, the pressure of staff burnout. You are not alone. You're also not broken. But something has to shift, because we all know if nothing changes, then nothing changes. That's why we created Equity Sings, a social impact firm specializing in built-to-last music nonprofits. The Built-to-Last framework, our signature model that has helped hundreds of organizations raise millions and reach new artistic heights, goes beyond the stage to help music nonprofits achieve excellence across 4 key pillars. These 4 pillars are musical excellence, operational excellence, inclusive excellence, and financial excellence. Today, we're laying down the foundation, talking about why artistic excellence and passion alone are no longer enough, how these pillars work together to create transformation, and what the cost is when organizations fail to evolve. We'll look at real trends like the Metropolitan Opera's declining sales, orchestras with rising revenue but rising deficits, and choirs that are rich in spirit but starved for sustainability. We'll also talk about what's possible when all 4 pillars are in place, because we've seen it, we've attained it, we've helped our clients get there and stay there. So whether you're an administrator or on the podium, this episode is your invitation to think differently, dream bigger, and lead smarter, much smarter. There are undercurrents of crisis across musical institutions. In opera, we can see this for sure. Opera America's 2023 field report showed that ticket revenues remained about 20% below pre-pandemic levels, especially among larger companies, despite an increase in first-time attenders. Furthermore, the Associated Press reported that the Metropolitan Opera sold only 72% of seats this spring. That's down from 75%, and now it just earns about 60% of potential ticket income. This drop, exacerbated by declining tourism, coincided with their $40 million endowment withdrawal. So why do I mention this? Because it's hard out there, folks. It is hard out there. As far as the orchestra world goes, we're seeing some worsening deficits. While some orchestras are experimenting and seeing revenue upticks, the fundamental cost structure remains pretty fragile. A 2024 New York Times piece noted that one orchestra grew revenue by 22%, but still ended with a $3.8 million deficit due to operating inefficiencies. This disconnect between income growth and financial health is a wake-up call for all orchestras who find themselves in similar situations. And choirs are definitely not immune. So some of you all might know that Chorus America in 2019 launched an impact study, and they found that 54 million Americans sing in choruses. That's huge. And that participation in choir, they found, this is Chorus America, they found that choir participation significantly reduces loneliness and promotes civic engagement. Despite all of that, are choirs receiving more funding? No, not since 2019. In fact, people are receiving less. And these choirs are having a hard time retaining young singers and young donors, right? They're having a hard time finding new institutional supporters, leading to volunteer and staff burnout and board burnout. And just the cycle continues. The grind just continues. So, why are music organizations losing ground? Well, first and foremost, I like to call this the artistic only trap, one of the reasons. That's when an organization is focused solely on artistic quality, and that has led many to believe that if they are just this great musically, then naturally success will follow. Incorrect, wrong answer. Ticket sales are inexorably linked to relevance, not just merit. I'll say that again. Ticket sales are linked to relevance, not just merit. The Met and opera programs are examples of this, producing outstanding productions, yet still not showing the attendance numbers that they hope to see, right? They're still seeing dwindling attendance. Then I also like to talk about operational and administrative gaps. Many of our organizations have poor systems, outdated governance structures, and low staff capacity. This all leads to burnout and poor audience experiences. These inefficiencies erode trust and ultimately long-term sustainability. And we also need to talk about inclusive relevance. It's still lacking. According to SMU Data Arts, only 52.8% of Americans see symphony orchestras as welcoming. Only 52.8%. That's almost half of Americans not finding orchestra to be welcoming. What is happening here? How are we being inclusive? How are we bringing people into this art that we love? We have to understand that narrow programming and lack of representation can deter potential audiences and potential donors, and our future audiences and our future donors. It's something we really need to pay attention to. And let's also talk about financial fragility. That continues to persist. We know that expenses are going up. They are not going down. Our organizations have not really fully recovered from the pandemic. And though there was stimulus funding and all of that and PPP loans and all of those things, those never really put us ahead. We were just happy to have a little something in the bank, but it still wasn't enough to substantively transform our organizations and how we operate. And without diversified revenue coming in from tickets, grants, sponsorships, individual giving, other sorts of memberships and institutional giving, our organizations will remain in a precarious place. That's why I built the Built to Last framework. The Built to Last framework has 4 pillars: musical excellence, operational excellence, financial excellence, and inclusive excellence. Excellence is the base of all that we do, but there are many different kinds of excellences. If we want to be built to last, if we want to have a roof that is really going to last and keep us warm and keep us dry and keep us safe and keep us there for the long term, then we need to have these 4 pillars to have structural integrity to our organizations. So let's talk about the Built to Last framework. The Built to Last framework really helps organizations find success because they have these 4 pillars. Many struggle because they don't have these full pillars and they don't look at this in a holistic way. So let's talk about these pillars. We understand what musical excellence is. It's when we have artistic programming that resonates with community and audience needs. It's when we have high quality music making, when we have high quality art making, when we have high quality programming. That's musical excellence, right? Then we have operational excellence. That's when we are building scalable systems, when we have thoughtful and thorough governance practices, when we have leadership clarity and our staff is well. Our staff, our people, the people who power our organizations are doing well. Then we also have inclusive excellence. That's when we have diversity in programming, when we have representation, when we have leadership in hiring and marketing, and we have community outreach, and our programming is reflective of what the community looks like and what they need and what they want and what is filling their cup. That is inclusive excellence. And then we have financial excellence. That's when we are developing earned revenue, when we're seeing donor growth, when we're securing grants, when we are looking at the financial picture in the long term, when we are having estate gifts, when we're planning to raise money for the future, when we are living sustainably, when we are no longer living paycheck to paycheck, grant to grant, hoping that something is not going to be canceled, right? That's financial excellence. So here we've got these 4 pillars: musical excellence, inclusive excellence, operational excellence, and financial excellence. And they are related. So people can see inclusive excellence and musical excellence. And we know that we grow when we have both musical excellence and financial excellence. It means we are growing, we're engaging our audiences and those who are our musicers, our players, our singers, right? So when we have financial excellence and operational excellence, that's what keeps our organization operating strong. We need money and we need systems. And when we have operational excellence and inclusive excellence, that's when our musicians are engaged. That's when our communities are engaged. That's when our board is engaged. That's when our staff is engaged, right? Because we have inclusive and operational excellence. We have systems and we have a posture of openness and cultural humility. It's so important, y'all. It's so absolutely fundamental. And these are all overlapping in many, many, many ways. See this picture here, this graphic here. If you're driving or you're listening, you're on the treadmill, just know that this is a quadruple Venn diagram. We've got the circles of inclusive, operational, financial, and musical excellence, but they all overlap with one another in various ways. But we are only built to last when all 4 are overlapping. We are only in the proximal zone for growth and success and sustainability when all 4 of these pillars are overlapping. So let's talk about some case-based results for these 4 pillars. Over a 3-year period, strong performance across the 4 pillars can radically transform the trajectory of a typical music organization with a $2 million budget. So we will see in these organizations projected outcomes to include a 50% increase in ticket revenue. We see a 50% increase in ticket revenue. That's a lot. We see a 30% boost in contributions and grants. Who doesn't want 30% more in their revenue from contributions and grants? And we see $100,000 annual deficits turning to $600,000 surpluses, demonstrating both sustainability and potential growth. These align with real improvements, like orchestras growing ticket income by 35%, and choirs seeing 20% donor retention increases after inclusive outreach in their programming, in their concerts, in their offerings, and what they're putting forward, their repertoire, right? It makes a difference, y'all. So the cost of waiting is real. I'm going to say it again. The cost of waiting is real. You cannot wait. There is an opportunity cost. Opera companies and other orchestras are projected to lose 20% of their audiences year after year. For every 100 people that come to your concerts and performances, 20% will never show up again. 20 of them are gone. They are gone just like that. That's what we're seeing. This is why you can't wait to put these 4 pillars into place. Choirs will continue to struggle to attract young singers and donors and board members. Staff burnout will accelerate. We think it's bad now, but we haven't seen nothing yet, y'all. We haven't seen just how bad it can really get. And organizations will miss out on critical grants and recovery funding. We know that people are losing funds. We know that there are many folks who are doing rapid response giving due to NEA cuts and the economy, the uncertainty and inflation. But those things We're not going to get those, right? We're going to miss out on those if we don't have these 4 pillars in place and funders can see that we are pulling all the levers within our capability, within our control to ensure that our organizations are sustainable and built to last. Let's talk about it, y'all. Equity Sings can help your organization be built to last. We're not generalists. We are musicians and nonprofit leaders with lived experiences. We deeply understand the culture of music institutions. It's not the same as other arts and culture organizations. And we speak authentically to both artistic and administrative teams. I am both an artist and an administrator. I am both a conductor and an executive. We understand how to marry these together. Our approach is multidimensional, not piecemeal, because we know that your organizations are complex. We help our clients diagnose weaknesses, build capacity, and align artistic and community missions with pragmatic systems that lead to financial sustainability. If you're responsible for a music nonprofit, this should be a wake-up call and resonate with you deeply. You do not have to choose between musical excellence and financial sustainability. I'll say it again. You don't have to choose between artistic integrity and being built to last. Our framework offers a pathway to both. Your community needs vibrant, lasting music institutions. Your team deserves organizational wellness, and your mission absolutely depends on it. It absolutely does. If you want us to take a look at your organization and how you can enact these 4 pillars, we'd love to have a conversation with you. You can visit us at equitysings.com, or you can shoot us an email at hello@equitysings.com. All right, y'all, that's all I have for you today. I'm wishing you well on your journey and hoping that you address these 4 pillars and ensure that your organization is built to last.